Before this video starts, originally I was gonna do two reviews for this video, but sadly I had a lot of personal problems that prevented me from watching it, and I'm just not in the right mood to watch this film. So I want my thoughts clear. I want to be in a better mindset when reviewing this movie, and I don't want it to be screwed up. So it'll only be this one review, and that's it. And originally, if you're wondering what movie I was going to review, it was this new movie on Netflix called Gunpowder Milkshake. So I want to be in a better mood for that movie. I want to watch it. So stay tuned for it next week. Enjoy the video. You know, Warner Brothers said that they wanted to move on from the whole sexualized girl bunny that Lola was from the first Space Jam, but dude, if you were that concerned, you guys wouldn't have held up that shot of her butt for more than 2 seconds. Like, seriously, you held on her butt for too long when she was turning into a CGI character. You know what scene I'm talking about, Warner Brothers. Don't think I know what you were doing. I just watched a lot of people review this movie, and they weren't wrong about one thing. Just because Lola has been, well, breast reduced size, that's not gonna stop artists from drawing porn of her. Like, it's not gonna stop. They will find a way. Life finds a way. Here. Salutations everyone, I'm Niru 𝕊ℙ𝔸ℂ𝔼, and we're doing 2 movies. Since, I figured that there were so many movies that came out this week, I want to do 2 movies and watch both. But I knew the one movie people would be talking about more would be the new Space Jam movie. No one's going to talk about the other movie, which we'll get to later, what I'm going to review after this movie. But I figured people would talk about the new Space Jam, and wow, I've seen a lot of hate for this movie. Like, there was a lot of hate for this film. Like, everyone's saying, this movie's bad, it's the worst, it's terrible. But a few people, like Doug Walker, as you know as the nostalgia critic, and Brad Jones, whom you also know as the cinema snob, I watched them talk about the movie, and they're the reason why I took interest in say, okay, maybe I should watch this movie now, because I was like thinking, I'll hold it off next week. But they convinced me. They talked about there were pros and cons in this movie, there were flaws, there was some stuff that was not good, but there was also some insane stuff in there that they thought was funny, and also unintentionally funny, since they acknowledge it is a bad film, but honestly, it's entertaining. Leave so. And they were not wrong. They were right. This movie is just a shameless commercial film. What is it trying to sponsor? HBO Max. Which is pretty obvious. But I honestly had enjoyment with it. No, it's no joke. I honestly had a fun time with this movie. Now, what's my experience with the first Space Jam movie? Long time ago, as a kid, it was on Cartoon Network. I mean, come on, don't most kids see a lot of Warner Brothers property movies on Cartoon Network if you had it as a kid? And I grew up with Warner Brothers. I still enjoy Warner Brothers. I think it's my favorite if I had to choose a favorite movie company, it's Warner Brothers. Even though the whole Zack Snyder versus Warner Brothers kind of thing about the whole like they don't understand what people want and everything, as much as that's true, and you know what they're trying to decide the fate for the DC universe, I still like them. I like them more than other film companies. It's true because the majority of movies that I love are from Warner Brothers. Sometimes no, sometimes yes, but a majority I have movies that I love from that company, and they they honestly bring out some good content, you know. I mean, there's Fox, there's, Summit, there's Lionsgate, there's all the other film companies out there, but Warner Brothers kind of stands out more to me in a lot of films, and mainly DC films, because again, DC fan right here that loves DC more than ever. Well, not more than everyone, because, there's a lot of hardcore fans, while I'm just the kind of otaku kind of DC fan out there. I don't know if that's putting it in, for lack of a better term. But anyway, Space Jam: A New Legacy. It is a shameless cash grab movie, but at least Warner Brothers knows that, and the people who are making this movie know that. But they know they want to have at least fun with this movie. And it shows that a lot of time, effort, and enjoyment making this film was put in this film. And they really did wanted to make something entertaining for kids and probably fans of the first Space Jam movie. Which, keep in mind, everyone, there's only, I say, about 2 references that talk about the first movie. 3 if you count Lola Bunny, but they show like the aliens that were from the Monster Squad from the first movie. They make a joke about Michael Jordan, but instead they accidentally got Michael B. Jordan. I knew that joke was coming a mile away, but they thought it was funny, so whatever. And it was kind of hilarious there. I did enjoy the whole Bugs and LeBron duo kind of like comedy that was like bouncing back on each other for, because seeing Bugs being the only Toon in the Toon world was really funny, because if he looked like he's gone crazy, because since there's no one else to play off on, there's no one to cause misery or torture for his amusement, or hell, any of his friends are there, which they're not in the Toon world. He kind of gone crazy, like he was Will Smith from I Am Legend, pretending that there's other people there, talking to like inanimate objects, getting himself into like dangerous situations, and because there's no one else to do it but himself, to do all the bits and gags and jokes that the other Toons do, because he's a Toon purist. He's a Looney Tunes purist, which makes sense since all the Toons like left to do their own thing, to go do what they want to do in the Warner Brothers serververse. And it is hilarious how funny that they played off with this gag. You got Daffy causing all the destruction and chaos in the DC world because he wants to try and get into the Justice League by causing a lot of mayhem and destruction and pretending that he's saving people so he can just be in the Justice League, which is pretty funny, honestly. You get the obvious jokes. I mean, of course, we're going to get a Game of Thrones one, though I wasn't expecting Foghorn Leghorn to be Daenerys, which is kind of odd. Now, you got the Austin Powers joke where Elmer Fudd becomes Mini-Me, and Sylvester was Mr. Bigglesworth, so of course he's going to be hairless. Granny and Speedy Gonzalez are in the Matrix world, so of course they're going to make the slow motion jokes, the bullet time, of course. And a hilarious one that I loved was the Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote in Mad Max. That was perfect. And you got like Wile E. Coyote as one of the war boys. He's got the face paint. He does the freaking silver thing that he used to spray paint his teeth, and then he yells out with the obviously with the with the text card that he always pulls out, "Witness me," and he's like, "Witness!" and he tries to kill the runner, which is so funny. Oh, it was hilarious. Though doing that montage of them because it's obviously Bugs trying to get his friends back, because a way that he just kind of technically manipulated LeBron James, like, I will totally help you get your son back to win this basketball game, but LeBron's thinking, oh, I need Superman, I need King Kong, I need the Iron Giant, and he thinks he needs these players because he thinks they will be better for the team, but the Bugs is like, no, you need the Looney Tunes to do that. Which is kind of like a flaw there. Like, yeah, you should get Superman. Hell, you should get the Justice League to help you fight against the Goon Squad. But then again, maybe the villain of the movie would have manipulated the game to make them powerless, probably. So maybe wasn't a good idea, and maybe it was best to have tunes that defy logic and any sense. So technically, it must have been better to get them, if from a logical standpoint. Because again, the villain could have just taken out kryptonite and been like, "Boom, Superman, you fucked," and then the whole game would have been lost. They would have gotten a kryptonite basketball, probably. I'm just saying, there's logic you could see, like, maybe he could have gotten these Iron Giant. Maybe he could have gotten King Kong. But hey, I feel like they could have found a flaw in strength. Hell, they could have gunned down King Kong if they wanted to. Yeah, I'm just saying, Looney Tunes were probably the better choice since they can get through any pain. Hell, they can escape death. They can't die. Obviously, because, Warner Brothers, this movie tried to trick us into saying, yeah, we totally had the balls to kill off Bugs Bunny, and then he just survives at the end of the movie. Like, we weren't fooled. There's no way you were gonna kill off Bugs Bunny. That doesn't seem possible. Oh, there is the whole plot and the moral of the story of be yourself and do what you're passionate about, and it's kind of ham-fisted, in my opinion. Because it was all like, we gotta believe in yourself. You do what you're passionate about, blah, blah, blah. And it was an obvious moral. And am I saying it was handled poorly? Not really. They got their message out. It's just, they kind of ham-fisted it a bit too much. More so than the villain saying LeBron James's name so many times, like he's the meme. LeBron James, LeBron James. And yes, if you're wondering, they do a few memes in this movie. You wanted Big Chungus in Space Jam? You got Big Chungus. Bugs did the thing. He did the whole Elmer Fudd impersonation. You got it. For all you people who are a fan of the Big Chungus meme, he did it in the movie. So get ready to see all those meme compilations where LeBron James meets Big Chungus, because you're gonna see a lot, I'm guessing, once this week comes out talking about this movie. Big Chungus in Space Jam, Big Chungus in Space Jam. It's gonna happen. I know they're gonna talk about, oh my god, Big Chungus in Space Jam movie. Like, everyone's gonna talk about it. I know they are. The memes are gonna fly off the map once they show it. Of course, the villain's kind of silly with his name, Algae Rhythm, or in this case, the algorithm, because, let's appeal to the YouTuber crowd and say, hey, what's a villain to the YouTubers? Oh, obviously, the algorithm, because they can't get their video any clout if unless they have a more popular fan base. I mean, of course they were gonna make fun of the algorithm. Like, that's what they were gonna do. Let's appeal to a younger crowd. Obviously, it was a dumb joke, and Don Cheadle knows he's in a silly kids movie, so he's like, whatever, I'm just gonna have fun with this and give no shits to my performance whatsoever. I'm just gonna have fun. And he does have a fun time doing the role as the algorithm, which is fine. I thought he was kind of funny sometimes. Also, I didn't expect Granny from Looney Tunes make a Dave Chappelle joke where she says game blouses. And if you don't know what the joke is, there was the true Hollywood stories with Charlie Murphy, where he talks about how Prince beat him in a game of basketball. So it really is funny, and actually, like, you know what? That makes too much sense to put that joke in this movie, but from Granny? And of course, the elephant in the room, the Warner Brothers characters that are in the background in this movie. And everyone's right, they are very distracting because you don't really pay attention to the basketball game in this movie. It's like kind of like Ready Player One, where you're trying to look for the characters that are hidden in the background of the movie and seeing like what characters did they got? Did they get Sonic? Did they get Tracer? Obviously Harley Quinn. Oh wow. Here you're trying to point out all the Warner Brothers movie references, like, oh, there's Agent Smith from Matrix, there's Mr. Freeze from Batman and Robin, there's the Penguin from Batman Returns, there's Catwoman from Batman Returns standing next to the 1960s Catwoman from the Batman TV series, and there's the Adam West Batman. There's like everyone, and I saw the Animaniacs on top of Marvin the Martian's spaceship, which was pretty cool. Again, I'm still gonna complain about this. Warner Brothers, please make a live action Animaniacs movie. It can work. I don't care what you gotta do. It can work. I would love to see the Animaniacs. You can just film it in the Warner Brothers movie lot, have them come out of the water tower. It would be fun. I'm not kidding. It would be fun. I would love to see it. It doesn't have to be taking itself seriously. It can be like Looney Tunes back in action. Silly. But with more effort. And speaking of, like, other things you're not paying attention to, Lola Bunny seems very not in this movie that much. Like, they really distract away from her. As much as I complained that they didn't get the original voice actor for Lola and got Zendaya only, she barely has any lines in this movie. She has a few lines and that's it. She doesn't leave a big impact at all. She's just there. And it's kind of sad. I mean, damn, they just sidelined her on the third act while they try to make her feel empowered, feel important when she's trying to make a name for herself to be an Amazonian when she's in the Wonder Woman universe, but they really sidelined the shit out of her, and I feel bad for her. When Warner Bros. Said that, well, we're not gonna give her what made her stand out in the Space Jam movie, so we're just gonna rose her from Rise of Skywalker in this movie. And that's an insult. That's sad. Man, poor Lola. I feel bad for her. As much as I didn't like her character in the original Space Jam movie, and to be honest, I did have a nostalgia factor for that movie and its soundtrack. I mean, come on. Sure, R. Kelly is a bad person, but I still jam out to the songs he made, because man made hits. Like, let's not forget that. He made hits. Let's forget about the person and just acknowledge he still made a few good songs. This movie's soundtrack is okay. Yeah, it's okay. It's a hip-hop soundtrack. It's a rap soundtrack, of course, but it's fine. Yeah. I know I'm all over the place in this movie, but as a whole, is it good? It's okay. But is it entertaining? Yes, it's entertaining. I wouldn't go as far to say it's bad. I think a lot of critics are being too harsh on this movie. Like, this is a movie that you need to chillax, have fun with, had fun to see these Looney Tunes characters on the big screen again. And that's it. It's not trying to be something. It's not trying to win Oscars. It's just trying to be an entertaining animated film for kids and, dare I say it, for people who like the original Space Jam. And that's really it. I mean, its story is just, well, get LeBron James to play a basketball game with Looney Tunes characters. That's it. That's what the Space Jam movie from the first one was about. Was Michael Jordan just playing basketball with the Looney Tunes and also trying to find himself to be a better person, I guess, because yes, Space Jam is based on a true story. Don't forget that, people. Michael Jordan really did quit basketball one time to play golf or baseball. I will give credit where credit's due on this movie. Animation, not that bad. Really good. As much as I'm a 2D animation and hand-drawn animation purist, because, well, I love that kind of style better, and we need more of it, and they did a good job with the 2D animation in this movie. It looks nice. I do love the animation when they're in the Toon World and they're all cartoony and such. When they're in the CGI 3D model, honestly, they don't try anything to make them look realistic. They just want them to look like the characters like they would do in 2D animation. And it looks pretty good. It reminds me sort of the 3D animated shorts that you see of Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner in the Looney Tunes show, when they have like those short segments of the 3D cartoon of Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner before getting back into the main plot of Looney Tunes show. You know, not the musical segments they have, which are silly and funny sometimes. I like them, but other times they're not good. Oh, speaking of which, of musical segments, Space Jam gives us a Porky Pig rap song. And if I have to say something about it, it's the worst part of the movie. Like, it is like the worst part of the movie. If you cut that scene out of the film, you're not missing anything. You're not losing much. I mean, you can shorten down the runtime, honestly, and you wouldn't lose a thing from that rap scene. Nothing of significance happened. It's just Porky Pig trying to roast the villains of the movie. And that's it. And It's blah blah. It's blah. I didn't like it. I mean, if I wanted to see Looney Tunes rap, I watched that Robot Chicken sketch of Bugs Bunny being like Eminem from 8 Mile, and he's roasting Elmer Fudd. That was funny, and that was actually pretty cool when they were doing that. But this ain't that. This is a PG movie, so they can't do the jokes they do in Robot Chicken. Same as we have to PG-ify Rick and Morty, because you can't have them say the stuff that Rick says in the show. So here he is in for a small brief cameo for no apparent reason. Hell, he's not even in the audience. Like, he's not even there. He's not in the audience, like, doing this weird, like, funny, like, reactions of screaming and yelling and acting all crazy. Like, they don't look like they're actually there. They just look like animated GIFs doing the repeated same motions over and over again. He's not in there. Rick is not there. Morty's not there. They're not. They're just one cameo, and that's it. You don't see a 3D version of them at all. It is odd. 3D animation's not bad. It's actually pretty good. It's 3D, and of course it looks fake, but then again, they're cartoons, so it doesn't matter. They're not trying to be realistic. Hell, they're in a video game world, so that gives it a bit of leeway to go wacky, insane, and over the top and cartoony all they like. Right. So in short, do I like this movie? Yes. I give it a 7.5 out of 10, honestly. I honestly had fun with it. I honestly enjoyed myself for what the movie was. Will I watch it again? Probably, to just pause the movie and try to see how many more characters did I miss in this film. I want to say the weirdest thing ever, but I don't know if I did see it correctly, but I'm pretty sure the mummy from the Tom Cruise mummy movie was in the background. I know it's Universal, but I saw a woman wrapped up in bandages, had long hair, in like this blurry background. I couldn't make out heads or tails of it, but I think it was the mummy from the Tom Cruise mummy movie. I'm not for sure certain. I know it's a Universal property, but Back to the Future, a reference comes in out of nowhere from this movie, so at this point, those are the only two things that weren't Warner Brothers, and you're like wondering what the hell were they doing there. So that's not out of limits there. So yeah, I enjoyed it. Do I recommend it? Yeah, sure. If you want to spend time with your family, gather them around in the living room, or take them out to the theater to watch this, yeah, I totally highly recommend it. I honestly enjoyed myself. I had fun. It was a fun time. Everyone's just being so cynical and critical about this movie being bad. Oh, this is an awful movie. By all means, this is not an Oscar-worthy movie. Nor is it supposed to be like a movie that's supposed to make sense, or a movie that's supposed to be taken seriously. This is a Looney Tunes movie, first and foremost. It's being silly. It throws logic right out the door. Let's not take it seriously. It's a fun film, honestly. And I don't care if there's plot holes or silly things like that. This is a movie to just sit back, relax, enjoy, and love the Looney Tunes. Because honestly, the Looney Tunes act like they're supposed to in Looney Tunes cartoons. Wacky, insane, over the top, and and sometimes being assholes at times. So yeah, I honestly think this movie did the Looney Tunes justice and is a nice sequel to Space Jam. I mean, I am disappointed I didn't get to hear the theme song, Come On and Slam, and Welcome to the Jam. Not even that freaking, the epic version of it in the trailer doesn't even make it in the film. Like that, the Come On and Slam, and it's like doom, 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 like that. Like it's not there. It's not in the movie. It's only in the trailer. You don't hear any of the returning songs coming back in there. You don't hear remix versions of it. There's nothing else there. I mean, that's sad. I mean, I would love to hear a revamped version of the Space Jam song. I mean, come on. Was Wiz Khalifa unavailable to do a rap verse on a remix version of Space Jam? 2 Chainz? $, you know, the typical rappers you hear in geeky movies like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and the Fast and Furious movies, like they weren't available. I mean, I would have taken them. They would have been awesome for that. I mean, come on. If you want to go above and beyond in the soundtrack, go above and beyond. Half of the songs I listen to are fine in this movie, but I really would want to hear a remix version of Space Jam. I really do. But anyway, on to the next review.
Ow, ow, ow! Ow! Ow!
You know, it's strange to figure out that in the Space Jam movies, Bugs simps on Lola Bunny in these movies. But when it comes to the Looney Tunes show, she's this crazy, psychotic, underage girlfriend that is obsessed with him. It's funny how the roles reversed in both those adaptations of the character.